Trisha, and I'm going to let you take it away from there.
Thanks, Carolyn.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to the GK styling class. Like they said, my name's Trisha Ostrom. I am an educator with GK Hair, and I live in Michigan. So if you want to just drop where you're from, or if you've worked with GK Hair before in the comments, just so we can kind of understand, where you're at, if you are familiar with the products, or if you're just here to learn some new stuff to take back to the salon. Today is going to be all about styling, and I've been eager to bring this kind of class for the virtual world for a while. I just didn't know how to go about doing it, and we're doing it. So this is going to be our first formal styling class that I've done for GK virtually. And we're going to be going over some of my favorite go-to products when I'm doing any kind of formal dance kind of styling, bridesmaid styling, wedding styling, all of that kind of stuff. I'm going to be showing you 2 looks. And if we have any extra time, I'll throw in a couple of my favorite go-to braids for upstyling and when I'm doing formal styling and everything that goes into that. So again, if you have questions along the way, pop them in there. If I don't see them right away, I promise we'll get to them. And we're gonna jump right into it. So if you're new to GK Hair, or if you haven't worked with the product, a huge thing about GK Hair, if you're looking at the screen, is our Juvexen. Any of our products, all of our products, and when you see our brand, one of the things that will stand out to you is Juvexen. I always say, if you're tuning into a class or if you're getting a class with me, I always say, say it out loud, Juvexen, so you know that you're saying it right, and also so you can make sure that when you're talking to your clients, that information will stick with you. Juvexen is an anti-aging keratin protein blend, and the principle behind it is to restore that hair to a more youthful state. Juvexen is as a brand, GK Hair's specific patented keratin. We are the only brand and the only company in the world that has Juvexen. And what it is a keratin that is rather cold pressed, and you're getting more of a raw nutrient than it being heated and compromised. When I'm trying to break this down to a more simpler term and I'm talking with my clients, I always say, if you were going into a store and you were to get a fresh pressed juice or a juice that has a lot of preservatives in it and it's been designed to sit on a shelf longer, which one do you think that you would rather go for, or that would give you the most benefit? Than the fresh pressed juice. So you're going to get all that nutrients. Our products are going to have that fresh pressed, all nutrient kind of benefit for your hair. What to expect when you're working with our products: healthier hair, stronger hair, a lot more moisture, and your end result products, whether it be styling, coloring, or one of our famous smoothing treatments. And you're also going to have that end result that's a more youthful. And another way to express what it means to be more youthful in your hair is, when you see a child and they're shaking their hair and it has so much movement, that's going to be your end result when you're working with our color and our smoothing and all of our products that go along with it. I know, being a stylist, I've done a lot of strain on my hair maybe, and I've colored it. And even though I have done, I'm a double processed blonde, my hair still has a lot of shine and a lot of movement. I know today I wore my hair in a ponytail. It doesn't do it justice, but I can say that my hair has never felt better with using these kind of products on my hair and being a double processed blonde. All right, so I think this is all I need. Oh, actually, I'll pull up this one too. GK Hair does offer a full product line. And like Carolyn mentioned, we did do a smoothing review on all of our smoothing products that we offer as far as our treatments go on Friday. So we did an in-depth dive into all of the different ones and the application processes with those. But we do have a full product line, so we have styling. What I love about the styling line is that I can carry all of the products and my clients don't feel overwhelmed with 5 different mousses and 10 different hairsprays or whatever it is. We have a very condensed line that's straight to the point and gives your clients everything they could need as far as styling and at-home care goes. So if you're looking at the screen here, you can see we do have lighteners. We have 3 different bleaches, which for me is a huge asset in my salon with the different clientele that I see. We have a full color line, and we have our smoothing and styling, and a whole range of different deep conditioning treatments. And I think that's one thing that stands out for us is our premise is healthy hair. So with all of our products, you're getting straight to the point with the product you need, but the end result and end goal is always to maintain healthy hair. All right, so today I'm not going to so much be using the slides because this is more of a look and learn, and we're not going to be reading. I'm gonna throw this chair out and we're going to get straight to the doll, and I'll tell you about some of my favorite products. But I will close this out, so it's going to take me just like 1 second to figure out how to, there we go, stop share. All right. So now I should be able to see when you have a question or anything, and we are gonna be styling 2 dolls today. And the first doll, I'll tell you about the style we're gonna do and what I did to prep her hair, and then we're going to get right into it. So you can see that I've already prepped my model's hair, and what I did is I used our 4-in-1 styling wand, and the 4-in-1 has 4 different attachments, so you can get different type of curls and whatever your result may be. The one I chose for the look that we're doing today is our cone shaped one. The reason I chose this shape for the style that we're doing is because you see how it's going to be wider here at the base. So when I start curling, it's going to be a little bit wider, and then as we go out, it kind of diffuses it into a tighter curl. I chose that because I wanted to have a little bit more volume at the base. So that's why I chose the cone shape. So it keeps that volume at the base and then gives me a nice tight curl to work with when I'm styling her hair. I love the 4-in-1. It's really easy to take to weddings. I don't have to carry, you know, sometimes I used to get overwhelmed because I'd have to have like 5 different irons or all these different irons for different looks. And this one's very simple. It heats up very relatively quickly, and it gives me the result I'm looking for. One tip or trick that you can do before you style your client's hair for any long term, or maybe it's, you know, a wedding, they're going to need their hair, you're styling them at 8 a.m., but they're going to need it until, you know, they want that to last all day. Some tips and tricks that I like to keep in when I'm doing my styling is I will work with our mousse, which is going to be a medium hold mousse. And while their hair is dry and before I start curling them, I take my mousse and I run it through I take maybe like 4 or 5 pumps of the mousse, run it through the hair, and then I take my blow dryer and I'll dry it a little bit, or usually their hair is pretty dry, so it just kind of sucks all that mousse up. And it gives me a little bit of a tacky feeling just so I can really work with the hair and make sure that hold is there. If our client has finer hair, one of my go-to products and what I used on this mannequin before I started curling is our cashmere. I would say cashmere is one of my top 3 products with GK. I use this on almost all of my styling, even if it's somebody just coming in, you know, for a color and I finish them with a wave. This is what I'm going to use to give them that tousled look with the wave. This is going to be a lightweight cream. So it's going to be a cream consistency, but it's also going to give me a little bit of hold. If I'm using this on someone who I want to use when their hair is damp before I blow dry them, this is going to help set that memory in there. Just like when you're using a mousse, right? It gives your hair that memory of where you set it and how you gave it the shape. This is going to be a little bit more lightweight, which I prefer because it's going to offer the chance for me to customize it more when I get into the styling and finished results. So that's what I use to prep her with, and you're going to see as we move forward, I'll probably be working with our shine spray and our hairsprays, and I'll kind of talk about those as we go. If you are writing out a list of things that you might need for this style, I am using hairpins, bobby pins, and for the first style, I won't be using any elastics. So all you'll need is your bobby pins and your hairpins. This style is pretty. It's pretty. No, it's pretty simple. I would say it's simple to the aspect of after you've gotten the prepping done of the curl, it's more so an aspect of pinning. And the way I'd like to say, like what I would call this look would be you're creating a veil of curls. So we're going to have that beautiful tousled look of a veil of curls on the top, and then we're going to take the bottom and create a low updo for her. All right, so you might see a lot of trends in the summertime where your clients want to have, you know, all of their hair pulled back, but with that nice like textured tousled look. This is going to be a way to approach that. I know within the last few years, a big trend is that done but undone updo style. And I think, you know, if we're thinking like 10 years ago to now, people used to want that very sleek and very put together look. So when we started transitioning over the past, you know, decade or so into a more undone, tousled, bohemian look, there was always like, oh, but how do we approach that? And this is how I would approach that if you have that kind of client. You're going to prep her, style her, and then we're going to jump into what we're doing. So let me just move my chair out of here so I don't turn around and bump into it. All right, and let me know if you find that you can't see something or I need to turn my mannequin. Just say something in the chat so I can make sure that we get the perfect lighting and everything. I do have a ring light on. All right, so let me show you her up close before we start. She has been curled, all of her hair, and when I was curling the top, I didn't curl on her part. And what I mean by that is I didn't curl, you know, where her part was. I kind of tried to split it all up so we can get a more tousled effect. All right, so we're creating this veil of curls on top. I'm going to go in here, and even though, you know, I already prepped her with my cashmere, that was a different time, that was yesterday. So I'm gonna prep her again with some more cashmere. And what you can do, sometimes what I also like to do if their hair isn't too fine, I'll take our shaping wax and I'll actually mix that with the cashmere. It helps create a little bit more grip and definition. So I'm just cocktailing those two together. It helps create a little bit more definition without being too sticky with our shaping wax. So just a good little cocktail with those. And I'm just piecing out some of those curls that are here on the top, so I can have a nice defined curl and texture when I'm pulling the hair back. And I think a lot of, you know, when we're starting to do updos and it's updo season, you know, if you have a bridesmaid or a girl who sits down and says, do whatever, I always say one of the best questions you can ask them is, what don't you like? So that way when they say do whatever, you don't do that one thing they don't like. All right. So I have everything prepped, and we're gonna take our comb. For this, usually I like to work in panels, but for this is a very easy to place kind of style. After you've gotten that curl and that texture in there, you're gonna start with working with your center here. So I'm taking my center and I'm going to take to here. So it's above the occipital for sure. So I'd say between the crown and right on that occipital, almost like you were to draw a horseshoe. That's where you're gonna wanna pin it. So I'm taking it, making sure that I don't have any splits, and I'm just gonna hold that one there, and then I'm going to, again, like almost like you're creating a horseshoe, I'm gonna take my other side, my right side, and I'm just gonna gently cross them, just like that, okay? And I always like to, you know, when you're in the salon, it's nice because you can look in the mirror. When you're at home working on a mannequin, you just want to kind of walk around and check out the front to make sure that it's not splitting in any way. And you're going to take your bobby pin and you're just going to go ahead, push that in there. And one of the things about this look is that you're going to want to be very gentle. You don't have to overpin. I think that's another thing that can happen is we go crazy and we start overpinning. This one you don't have to overpin. You just want to make sure that you're placing enough pins to give it a hold that will last all day, but not overdoing it. All right. So I placed my first pin, and all I've done here is I've just grabbed this horseshoe section and pinned it because that's going to be the foundation, right? That's where we're going to start, and then we're going to start crossing our curls, our veil of curls over. And you can get as creative as you want with this. If you want to start piecing these out even smaller, you can do that. That's fine. It really is up to you as a stylist. And it always depends on how their hair is sitting too. And what I'm doing is I'm crossing, and I'm just gonna take a hairpin and gently secure that one in there. And we're not gonna be spraying just yet. I don't want the hair to get too sticky or get overly set before I finish my veil. So again, I'm pulling over from the side, and I'm just using a hairpin, and I'm just going in there and pinning it. And this one's a nice one for those clients and those formal styles where they don't want it to be, they want to have volume, so they don't want it to be so tight to their head. This is going to give them a lot of volume all the way around. And I know it's a big thing too, at least I've definitely had my fair share of clients who like to leave some like romantic pieces. You guys have probably heard that. I want some little pieces. They're like romantic pieces around the face, right? That's totally fine to incorporate in this style. Our mannequin here, she doesn't have any romantic pieces to leave. I've sometimes even had people say, can you just cut that little piece so it'll stay? And I'm like, for one day, you just, okay, whatever you want.
Yeah, then you cut that one piece and they have like this awkward hairstyle afterwards.
I know, and I'm like, just for the one day? All right, so, okay, I've gone and I've taken my left. Do you guys kind of understand what I'm doing here? I'm slowly bringing these pieces back and creating this beautiful veil of curls. So again,
let us know if you have any questions, put it in the chat box or.
Yeah, so Carolyn's there to help see who's asking questions and stuff. So that's definitely something to take advantage of right now. And when I'm taking these pens, I'm sticking them, I go forward and then I turn them back. So that grip, because we know that grip is there to help grip the hair. All right, and just getting to my last bit here. And sometimes it really depends on the type of hairline the client has. You know, if she has finer hair, I will leave these last two pieces here on the side in the front, right here. I will leave those to pin last, just to hide any, maybe she has where her hair's thin and it kind of shows her scalp. I'll leave those so those go over the veil last. This mannequin actually has pretty nice hair, so I'm going to go ahead and pin them now. And this can be, you know, the fun thing about when you're doing upstyling is it doesn't always have to be the same. You know, maybe you have someone who wants this look, but they want to throw a braid in there. You can totally do that. That's the fun thing about styling. Why I like knowing, you know, certain techniques and patterns to creating a look, just like this one, is that it's great for when you do have a whole bridal party and then someone shows up late and they need their hair done quick. This is a good way to just go off the base and then kind of create what you want. So I'll show you guys up close now. I'm gonna spray it. I'm gonna use my Stronghold here. What you can do, and sometimes I do to give it an extra piecey look or tousled look, is I will find the pieces I want. I will take my hairpin, I'll pull them up, pull these pieces up. I'll see if you guys can see that. And I'll just place my hairpins where I want to see a little extra, you know, volume or texture. And I'll just spray those and I'll let those sit until I'm finished with my style, because what happens once they sit is you'll pull them out and those pieces will be nice and in the perfect place that you placed those pens. So we'll just do that with this. And you can even raise those pieces when they're in there. And this is a good tip for those clients who have really strong hair parts where their hair naturally parts. Go ahead, place it in there, spray it, let it sit until you're finished with that style. And then that way they won't have to have that split. Okay, let's see, I wanna like get down here with her without raising her too high. Okay, so this is, I'll get her close just so you guys can see her. This is what we have so far. And you can see I've placed these hairpins and we'll take those out. They're just there to help set the hair. And this is a really great technique, especially if they have fine hair that doesn't want to do anything. You're just setting that hair until you're finished. You'll pull that out and they'll have that perfect tousled piece. But we've just created this veil of curls. And now we're gonna create the bottom half. And sometimes you'll find, you know, someone who just wants their hair half up. There you go. You've created your half up look. You don't even have to finish. But if they want to have it all pulled back, this is where we'll do this. So I think I mentioned styling hair in panels. This is kind of what we're doing now, right? We worked from that horseshoe. That was your first panel. Your second and your third were these side panels. That's where you were crossing second, third, second, third. And now we're working with the bottom. And you're gonna split this in two, okay? It's easier than just you start pinning and then it turns into a nest, right? We don't want that. We want to, you know, have some sort of structure to it so you can recreate it. So if you're taking notes, we started with that horseshoe panel. We worked with the two side panels, and now we're taking this lower half, which is about the middle of the occipital down. And we're gonna take this. What I'm doing here is I'm just twisting like a rope braid. Twisting, twisting, twisting. Now, if they have pretty thick hair and you want to secure it with an elastic, go ahead and do that. I just take a little bit of hairspray with my mannequins because they're, you know, they're different than working with really real hair. It's real hair, but it's not real. So I just take a little hairspray and it helps it hold. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, and I'm twisting away from the face. So this one, I was twisting towards me. I'm twisting them both towards me in essence. They're not both going the same direction. So just imagine you're twisting away from the face. And that's what I'm doing here. So then you'll end up with these two sections that you've twisted. And you can either, again, elastic, pin it, or just put a little bit of hairspray in it so it holds. I'm actually gonna have to get down here because I like to be working right here with it. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the left side here and I'm gonna loop it under right here. And then I'm going to take the top and I'm going to pin it. Did everyone see that? I took that left-hand side and I looped it under the right and I'm just pinning it for now. I want to make sure it's gonna hold up. So sometimes I even like to take a pin on the underside and make sure that it's in there, okay? And now I'm gonna take this one, and this is my right side, and I'm going to make sure that I'm working with the twist. So if I was to do that, if I was just to take it, and there's a lot of slack there, there's a lot of slack. If I was just to take it and pull it over, that's fine. But what I like to have, I don't like to see that much slack. So I'll place my finger, and it's almost like I'm helping twist it with the direction of the hair. And then I got my spot there. So I just kind of twist it over. So the left-hand side, the essence of what that was doing was it is creating the shape on the bottom. The right-hand side is creating the shape on the top. So I twisted the left side under and the right side up. And I'm just putting a couple pins. And then we have the little tail here. We'll just tuck that tail right in. And if it comes untwisted, that's okay. You can just twist it right up. And you'll see there's a reason why I'm twisting it in a second. They'll all come together. And it's nice because it creates almost like one of those, you know, it looks like it's been braided. It looks like, you know, you did all that stuff to it, and it's actually relatively simple. So once you've got that, I'm gonna take this so it comes up here. All right. Now, once we've already pinned those, we've got them secure. Now it's doing the test to make sure it can withstand the day, right? So there's a few places where I think naturally as a hairdresser, you know, like, oh, that's gonna need a little bit more security. And I always like, this is a tip too for long hair, like when you have someone who needs longevity in that style, have them do the dance test. So I just have them shake their head really good, and it helps you make sure that, you know, even if they're like going crazy, like turning up at night, they can have their style last. All right, so we've got our shape. So this is the basic shape, and now you're gonna go in there and you're gonna do your fine tuning. We're gonna
can you bring her a little closer to the camera so we could see the detail?
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes. So this is before we go in there and add in that really fine detail. But you can see the twist, it gives it that, like, it looks like it's almost been fishtailed. All right. And then we have our pins still setting on top. So these pins are still creating that texture on top. We're not going to send her out like that with those pins coming out of her hair. And now we're gonna create a little bit more definition and detail in this lower part. Some people are completely fine. They're like, no, I don't need any more. I'm ready. I need to go. So we'll just send them on their way. But for her, we're gonna, I'll show you how you can make it extra special. We're gonna use that same technique where we're setting the hair with our pins. I think sometimes we don't utilize our pins for what they can do. But what we're gonna do is I'm gonna place my pin, and then you're gonna just kind of tug where you want to see it come out a little bit. And this creates more of that fishtail effect. So it looks like it's been intricately braided or styled, which, we have, but we're just kind of creating more texture and definition in the style. And how I look to where I want to do that is I just I'm looking around the shape. I see here I want to add a little bit more definition on top. I want to add a little bit more definition here on the side, so I'm pulling it out a little bit. And it's really nice when they have longer hair because then you have more of this rope braid to work with and pull apart. And you can always experiment with doing different kinds of braids, not just the twist rope braid. I'm going to pull a little bit out there. And I think I'm going to do one more on top. And this is where you can let your creativity shine and really really experiment with it. So I'm just I like to step back from my work too. That's another thing. Sometimes when we're doing an updo, I think we overcomplicate it and we're like in it. We're like focusing so hard on one spot, and it just helps to step back, take a breath. Okay, I see where I want to add a little bit more texture. And then I'm just going to place that pin, pull it out. And this is the fun part to me because it's like you're really to me, it reminds me of a flower. I don't know. It's like the petals. You're pulling the petals out. So yeah, you want to be gentle like it is a petal. And then I'm going to put one more there. And then what we're going to do, once we get that petal, make sure it's all nice. This is a nice spot to pull out too. I got one too many pins. All right, so I pulled out that spot. All right, so now that I've gone in there, and I'll bring her close just so you guys can see. How's the lighting? Is that okay? You can just see how it really brought out the shape of what we did there. It's not just stuck to her head. It's like, it's giving it some real good definition. And I'm going to take my
3D, almost like a 3D kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, when someone's getting their photo done and stuff, those things are going to stand out and make your style different. All right. So I'm going to pull her away just so I can hairspray her and I don't cake my laptop with hairspray. I like to go in there and I just like to really give it a good spray. And sometimes I do pinch those spots to give it more definition. I pinch because I don't want to hold. If I hold, the hairspray gets on my fingers, and then when I pull away, what happens? It gets frizzy because it's stuck to my fingers. So I'm just spraying and pinching.
I want to know, did you tease the crown at all?
I did not tease the crown at all. Yeah, so that's a great question. You saw what I did is I just, and that's why, I explained. I used this in the beginning because it's cone shaped. It creates more volume at that base, and I pull it back. So there was no teasing involved with this. Now, if you have someone who's really fine, I still wouldn't necessarily recommend teasing, but maybe working with a dry shampoo or something that will help create a little bit more grit on the hair. All right, so I've done that. I've sprayed. Now I'm gonna let this set, but I'm gonna pull her down just so we can take a better look here. So we have these pieces pulled out. You have the texture. That light in the background is driving me nuts. Okay, there we go. You can see she has these pieces, and you can pull these, you can kind of create this veil however you want. And then you saw what I did here. So she had that split there and we put that there to set. When we take that out, that'll help make this a very soft, diffused backwards. And then she has that nice tousled look, that textured look that people are looking for. All right, so these have been setting long enough. I'm gonna pull them out. You see, it stays exactly where I want it. Stays exactly. Oh, then I just dropped that right into her hair. I did not want to do that. There we go. Just let it fall. And we'll pull this one out. And I love that because when you do have someone who has very fine hair or finicky hair, if you do that, it helps keep that nice tousled look. And yeah, there was no teasing. It's just the volume of, you know, pinning that crown, that veil of curls, then doing our twist down here. And let's see, I think she's probably good to pull these pieces.
What product did you use again for the top?
Yep. So I did a combination. So I prepped her. I ran our cashmere all through her hair. And this is going to help create, you know, it sedates the frizz. It adds some extra shine, but it's not a serum. The serum isn't going to give you that hold. So this actually has the light hold in it. So that's what I used to prep her hair, to keep the frizz down and to also give her some light hold. Okay. And then I mixed the cashmere with our shaping wax. Now I did a little bit of the cashmere and a little bit of the shaping wax. And I used that to really define these top pieces, because you're gonna get a little bit more hold with the shaping wax and more definition with the shaping wax. But I mixed it with the cashmere so it wouldn't be as sticky as a wax would be.
Okay.
Just kind of intensifies the strength of the cashmere. And all right, so I'm gonna go ahead after and then I use our Stronghold hairspray. I worked with that the whole time. And a lot of times, if I'm spraying, you know, to pre-spray and add holding, I will use our light hold and then I'll finish with our Stronghold.
Okay.
But because this is, you don't have to do so much, you know, you don't have to keep doing all this stuff. It's pretty straightforward. I just worked with our Stronghold hairspray all the way through. And now I'm going to be pulling out these, and you can see exactly where, and I'll pull her closer. I know it's a little tricky on this laptop. Exactly where I had those pins. Those pieces are staying pulled apart.
Nice.
And what I'll do is, I'm going to obviously keep her in this style, but maybe I can pull her up to the ring light. I'll bring the ring light close, or maybe I can try that now. Why not? See if that makes a difference with how you can see it. And I'm going to finish her. This is one of my go-to products when I'm finishing any of my styles, no matter what the service is, as far as like updos and formal styling. There's something, I mean, not only do I just like the product because it adds shine, but there's something magical about the experience, because when you spray the dry oil, it has an amazing fragrance, but your clients, like, it's like a mist coming down on them. So it's almost like, and we're done. So it just creates an experience. And I really like the dry oil for that. You can see it like creates that experience. It's like, and you're done. And you get that great shine. So let me see if I can grab that ring light and pull it a little closer. It might help you see everything a little bit better. And just tell me if it doesn't help at all.
No, that actually helps, I think.
Okay. Let's see, we'll get the perfect angle here.
What do you guys think?
All right.
Let us know in the chat.
Yes, so look number one. You can let me know, was it simple? Do you think you could recreate that pretty easily? And that's my challenge for you today, is if you're tuning into this and you have access to a model or a mannequin, I want you to try to recreate some of the looks from today and then tag Monaco Blue and GK Hair, as well as me, so we can see, you know, how your looks turned out. Did you feel inspired? All right. So stylist tuning in, let us know what you think. All right. Perfect. All right, so that's our first scale. And the next style we're gonna go into is going to be another updo. So the next style, I'll get down here to talk to you, is going to be on a long hair. So here we go. Beautiful long hair. I did prep her because I didn't think, you know, you guys didn't want to watch me curl a whole head of hair during your education. So I did prep her. The curling iron I used is I stuck with the same cone shaped. I was tossed between using our really small curler or the cone shaped, but I decided to go with the cone shape because I actually wasn't looking for a super tight curl. I just wanted a really nice wave because this style is going to be all back, that we didn't need to go too extensive with the curling. And that's another tip too. If you're going to be doing a style and the hair doesn't need to be curled, don't go out of your way just to, like, every updo does not have to be curled. And you can actually do a lot of your pinning or braids before you curl. So you don't have to waste your time when you're in a time crunch for an up style. For this model, I used our cashmere to prep her. And then she does have a little bit more of a frizzier, porous hair texture. So I did go ahead and I worked with a little bit of our serum. And I just ran that through because I want to make sure that she's not too frizzy for the service. And our serum, if you're familiar with our products, is going to be our go-to product when it's for smoothing, shine. And you can use this all the time. It's great for that. Sorry, I was checking out the chat to see if there's any questions. All right, so moving forward. Okay, so how we're going to approach her is, again, I like to work in panels. It helps to make sure that you have a direction and you don't feel lost going into your service, whether it be a style. And I even, when I'm teaching my color classes or balayage classes, I say the same thing. You wanna work with structure. You don't want to go in blind. You don't want to feel overwhelmed. So it's always good to have some sort of panel work or technique that you're trying to go for, and just take a deep breath, and you will be able to work through those panels instead of feeling overwhelmed with someone who comes with hair that's maybe, you know, down half of their back and you have to do an up style. You can do it. You just have to work strategically and in panels. So for her, the look I'm going to do for her is I'm going to be doing a creative style braid here up in the front. And then I'm going to be working off that, creating, so we're going to be doing a creative style braid here, and then we're going to be working with 2 elastics for this look. And we're going to be creating some volume here. And just like Carolyn asked earlier, did we tease? I'm not going to be teasing for this one either, but it creates that beautiful shape here in the back where you get that volume that people are looking for when it comes to your updos. All right, so at any point, if you need me to re-explain with the braiding or anything, just let me know. I'm gonna stand up for this. And she kind of has a part that's like naturally off to the side. So for her, we're actually gonna use that as an asset, use it as a guide to where we're gonna start this. And we're gonna start with paneling her off. So I know that I'm going to be using the front here for this braid. So I'm creating a section that I'm gonna clip away so I'm not fussing with it when I'm doing the back style. From her natural part right here, take my comb about 2 inches back or 1.5 inches back. And from that 1.5 inches back, I'm drawing a line for my section to go right behind the ear. So then I have that line and I'm just gonna clip this off. just so I don't get overwhelmed with it, or I don't know, you know, like I don't feel like I need to play with it right now, because I don't. I'm gonna start right here in the back. I keep sitting down because I feel like I need to be right there. I'm gonna stand up. All right, because I won't be sitting when I'm doing my actual models. All right, so now you see the section I'm working with here in the back. I'm going to be creating that foundation. And remember how we did the mohawk for the last one? Kind of the same thing, but we're not going to be pulling all that hair from the front. I just want to take here in the top, I'm going to be taking a little section, half of a triangle, a rounded triangle, and I'm going to be taking that, holding it, pinching it, and then I'm going to grab the same amount of hair from the other side, because this is just that little crown area that I want to start my base, and I cross them just because it helps when I go to pin it and then I start pulling it out to give it that volume. So I'm crossing over, taking my bobby pin, and I'm going to pin it. Just like that. And then we're going to really secure it. So it's always nice to get that first pin in there, just so it creates that anchor. And now create another pin in there to hold it. And then one more on the other side. Right here. All right. So we've created that little crown area right here, okay? So that's just the foundation of knowing where the center of our style is going to be. And now what I'm gonna have you do is we're gonna take right here and we're gonna draw a similar line. So this is the opposite side of her part, okay? So just like the front, we're gonna cut away right behind the ear, all that hair that's from the front that we're not gonna be playing with right away. So just cut that line. It's like a slightly diagonal back line coming from behind the ear, taking away that front panel. So now we're just working with the back. It makes it a little bit easier when you're working with a lot of hair. And this is where our elastics are gonna come into play. And again, I'm gonna get down here on the ground because the level of this camera. All right, so we have our pinning there. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna split this into two. And this is what makes it easier for you when you're doing your styles. So we're splitting this in two. And if you see any little guys come up, that's okay. You can just pull them down. And we're gonna put an elastic here on the left. I'm just working with a clear elastic. And I'm pulling it. Okay, so this one's gonna be a little bit lower than the one that you're gonna do on the right. And you know, if you did the lower one on the right and the higher one on the left, that's okay. For me visually, I just do the lower one on the left. And I'm doing one slightly higher and a little bit more center on the right. And again, I always suggest if you're not working in front of a mirror, which does happen sometimes when you're doing bridal styles and you're at a hotel and you're doing their hair or wherever you are on location, if you do on location. And then I'm gonna fasten this one slightly above. I think you guys can see that it's above, but closer to the center. So we're not trying to keep it too far off. And for these, okay, these elastics let me do 3 loops. Pull it through. All right. So let's see. Does that make sense? Do you see how you have one down here and then one up here? Okay. Okay. So now, this is the fun part. This is where you can customize it, and however you want these to look, you can, you know, play around with them. Again, I really don't mind doing the rope braid because it helps create a nice foundation for your styles, and it keeps it clean, and you're not pinning like a million different pieces all over the place. For her, and for a lot of my clients, what I'll do is I'll take my cashmere, again, one of my favorite styling products, and I'll just clean those pieces off. And the same thing for this side. I just kind of define it, clean these pieces off. And we're gonna start with our bottom one. Now, this is nice. You can see I can create a cleaner rope braid with this style. And I'm taking it, and I'm just gonna, left side is going up over the right and back under, and then we're just gonna tuck that tail, but I just wanna pin it over here and get that grip before I start pinning. So I have my bobby pin and I'm putting it in on the right-hand side. And I'm just really securing that foundation. Okay, so I have a gentle, secure foundation, and I'm gonna keep going in there. Secure it some more. All right, so this is what we're working with. And now I'm gonna do my other side to create this very full low bun. So I'm twisting, it keeps it clean, and I'm able to create a very full style. Nowadays, people like a lot of fullness in their up styling. All right, so I've created my rope, and I'm going to twist the opposite way and pin. Make sense? It's funny, it's so different when you're teaching online, because it's like you're teaching a class, but you're teaching yourself. Like, it's like you're talking to yourself.
Yeah, that's hard. I know sometimes.
I'm just imagining people, oh, it makes sense.
Yeah, if you have a question or just throw a comment in there so she knows you're still out there. That's awesome.
All right, so I've done the pinning, okay? And this is where we're gonna have fun. We're gonna actually come back to this. Again, I do a little shake test. She's dancing. Sally can turn up tonight and she's gonna be fine. All right. So we're gonna go to this front part where we're gonna do our fun braid. And we're gonna be doing a Topsy kind of new kind of, I can't say it's new, but it's definitely been a popular look lately. And it's really creative. So we're taking here and cutting it across, so it's a triangular section here on the top, and I'm pulling it towards me. So, you know, her part is going on, it's on the right hand side, so more of her hair is laying on the left. I have my triangular section, and you can either use the shine spray or you can use your cashmere. I just like to make it really nice and clean. I'm taking my elastic, and you don't even have, you can create this front style braid however you want. So if this seems a little bit too much for you, you can always create it however you want. And you're creating a little pony here. And this is like a Topsy braid. So we have this, okay? And we're gonna open up that center and we're gonna bring it through, okay? We brought it through. And I'm gonna keep doing this, so you're gonna see it again. So I have this, and I'm pulling from each side, so I'm not grabbing the previous pony that I did. I guess I could, we can see what happens. And I'm adding in hair from each side, okay? And then we're gonna fasten it again. Spraying my dry oil on there to make sure it doesn't get all fuzzy. Sounds like a fire alarm's going off, or the fire siren. I don't know if you guys can hear that.
No, actually you can't.
Okay, I'm like, okay, a fire siren's going on outside. All right. So we have the second fastened pony, and I'm flipping it through the center. Making sure I get all that hair in. And I'm gonna pull it tight. And I'm gonna pull this up. And remember I said usually I don't add in that hair. Usually I don't add it in because I always think you're gonna see the pony, and that's what happens. So I'm actually gonna go back and not add that pony in. I'm gonna just do the two side pieces like I originally planned. So, lesson learned, we're learning together here. So we have that first pony, we flipped it through. I'm not gonna add any of the hair from that first pony, and you can definitely, it's not confusing. You can see that there's hair there. So you're just gonna skip over that hair and grab the hair that's on the side, and we're gonna be creating a pony right here. So I have my pony, my elastic, and just create that secured, and then I flip it. And the nice thing is then I pull it up, and when I pull it up, it covers the previous elastic, whereas you're gonna obviously see this elastic here, but when I pull it up, it covers that elastic, and that's the idea. And it creates this very voluminous braid, and we're gonna have that go to about here, and then I'm gonna braid and we're gonna wrap it over. So, and this is just, you know, a twist on having fun with your braids. You can create a lot of volume, and it creates a nice, unique look. So this is a great look for a bride who's looking for a nice crown piece, or even a bridesmaid. I would say that this kind of braid works best on someone who does have a little bit fuller of hair, because we know what happens when they don't have as full of hair. Sometimes the braids just don't have as much shape. They kind of fall flat to the head more than when they do have fuller hair. But if you have someone who can add in extensions, this would be a good look for them.
Oh yeah, extensions would work perfect. You're right. I always forget about that.
Yep. So yeah, a lot of, you know, when people are bringing you photos, especially brides, they'll bring you these photos with, you know, maybe they don't have as much hair, but they bring you these photos, and these girls have just like these really, really full braided crowns. And the trick is you gotta just let them know those are extensions, but that doesn't mean you can't have them. We just have to get you some extensions. All right, so I got that third piece in there. And then what we do here, I always find that 3 or 4 is the sweet spot, but you don't want to go too low with it, because you also want to think about how it looks from the front, right? If I go too low, then it kind of brings the face down. And that's why it's so important when you do up styling that you have a mirror available to see the front. So I like what that looks like. I'm going to go ahead, take this whole section. I'm going to leave a few here because I'm going to pull these over and pin them. And before I finish this braid though, I'm going to take this in the back here and you can create more volume. You can pull this up and create more volume. So remember when Carolyn asked if I teased that last style? Nope, you just kind of pull because you've created this really secure piece and it allows you to create that volume in there without having to tease. And you can pull all the way around to give that really full effect. And if you wanted to even, do you see how that just changed to the back? It gave a nice fullness. Even if you wanted to do the pinning technique that I showed you with the hairpins, you could do that and
I was
spray.
just going to ask you about that, if you could do those hairpins.
Yep, you definitely can. And that just helps, you know, give it a little bit more definition. So here we go. We're here in the back. Now we've done our secured our bun here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull these out a little bit just to give it a little bit more fullness. So you can really see on this one, you can see where that rope braid is a little bit better than the last one because she has longer hair. It allows me to have a little bit more fun. So I'm pulling it out and creating this beautiful full bun. And I love this because it just gives it so much movement, and if they have color in their hair, it gives them so much dimension. See how I just
yeah,
pulled it
that's
all out?
beautiful.
Yeah. So, okay, I've done that. I'm gonna go back to my braid and we're gonna take it, and like I said, you're just gonna wanna add pretty much all of the hair that was in the topsy braid that we did up there, that topsy braid, and I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna do a 3-strand braid. So your traditional 3-strand braid. You can go overhand or underhand. You can spray this too with the dry oil before you do it if you want. I feel like I've really given this lady a lot of dry oil, so I'm just gonna go in there and I'm gonna braid. And I love full hair that you can really get a nice braid out of. So I'm braiding down all the way. And this is just, again, 3-strand braid. And what we're gonna do with this is we're gonna take it and we're gonna drape it over the top of our bun. And you're gonna pin it. Here on the other side. Okay, make sure it's pinned pretty good because we're gonna pull it apart and make it nice and wide. So I'm just going in here, pulling it apart. And don't worry because it's not gonna, you wanna, when you start pulling apart braids, it's important to start at the end and then work your way up. Because if you work your way up, or you start up here and then start pulling down, what happens is it just doesn't flow right. It just like tightens at the end. And
Hey, Trisha, did you secure that with a hairpin or a bobby pin?
I just secured this with a bobby pin.
Okay.
Yep. I secured it with a bobby pin on this side, and you can see we have our little tail, but we have all this hair that we're still gonna bring on into the style. And I'm just making this nice and full. And you know what? I learned when I was playing around with this yesterday because I wanted to figure out what I wanted to show you guys. I learned that I didn't want to pin that yet. I want to take that out, which is fine. You can just take that out. And you're gonna take this little bit over the top. and pin it. And that's the nice thing is when you're strategically pinning, it's easy to just unpin, drop, and repin. You don't have to, you know, if you put in a million pins and you don't know where you put them, or you're not taking panels, you're more likely going to have to undo the whole thing to redo it. When you're working when you're working in these panels, it's so much easier to be like, oh, you know what? I'd rather see that go there so we don't cover up our beautiful braid. And then I'm just going to pin my braid in.
Yeah, that's smart. I didn't think about working in panels like that. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, yeah.
So many times you have all these pins in there and you're like, what the heck?
You're like, well, shoot, she doesn't like it, so I'm going to have to take everything down and I don't know where I put them. So,
Yeah.
So working in panels, and that's one thing I think sometimes if you're a new stylist or a stylist who's new to doing formal stuff, I remember my progression when I was starting till now. And one thing I've learned is when I started saying, we're going to do this together, and if there's anything along the way that you don't like, say it then so we don't have to work backwards. And I continuously check with them. And if there's no mirror in front of me, I say, okay, we did a pretty major part of this, so go look in the mirror and come back and tell me how you feel about it. And I think it gives them the reassurance that you want to give them what they want, and they feel more comfortable with the style because they actually were looking at it the whole way through and agreeing with what you were doing instead of, you know, you doing everything and then maybe they didn't say anything the whole time. And I think that just by doing that, it's offered them the space to say, okay, like she's listening to me instead of she's just doing whatever she wants. And that helps too when you're doing, if you're new to upstyling or doing weddings. So I just love how this braid looks on the side coming into this. And I just, you know, you can keep pulling it and getting it exactly how you want it. And sometimes if the hair is heavy, you can just throw a pin in there to make sure it stays. But that's one side of our head. Now we just got to work with this last little bit. Do we have any questions before we, it looks like we have a question in here. Instead of the 3-strand braid, that would look good with the fishtail. Yeah, no, it totally would, Elysia. That's the fun thing about these styles is you don't even have to just do a 3-strand braid. You could do a rope braid, a fishtail braid, or whatever custom kind of braid you wanted to do. That's totally up to you. And even with this little topsy braid, you don't even have to do that if your client's not into it or you're not into it. These are, again, panels. So it allows you, by showing you a paneled placed style, it allows you to customize it how you would like to play with it. And again, if you do any of these styles, we would love to see you tag Monaco Blue and GK and show how you made it your own. I think that's what's so great about these classes is when I see styling classes, it's not that I'm going to a styling class to go home and be identical with it, but it's to put your own spin on it and make it your own. And that's the fun thing about styling. I don't think styling is ever just identical with the next person. I think we all have our own little twists. All right, so we have this last panel here. I could braid it, but I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm just gonna place it and give this style a nice, some nice volume and texture on this side because I don't want to leave this side not full. So if I just pulled this back tight, it would look kind of unbalanced. So I wanna make sure that I do keep some fullness in there. So what I like to do is I'm gonna start here in the top area. I have my little section. Let me grab my comb. And I'm gonna just twist a little bit. And you can just twist that and pin it right into your style. Can everyone see that okay? I wanna make sure you can see. And then I have a hairpin, pinning it in, making sure I cover that hairpin. And I'm gonna do something with these tails in a minute. We're just placing and putting a little pin in there. And I always love it when when I'm doing an actual like model or client who I know is going to be wearing this style. When I feel my bobby pin lock in with another, I'm like, she's going to wear this all day long. It ain't going anywhere. All right. Coming back up here on top. And I'm working from the top down. And what I mean by that is that first section, I grabbed it from the top and now I'm grabbing right behind that one. And then I'll work with that last piece. All right. So I have that piece and I twist it and I find a little place to put a pin. And another little pin. And our last little piece. And again, if she wants to have those little romantic pieces, she can do that. You can leave it out for her. For Sally today, she has too long of hair, so we're not going to be leaving that out. Have my pin, just pop it on in. All right, so we've pinned all that back. Okay. And we're just gonna take these little tails, and I like to work with the natural curl texture. I just accentuate that by twisting with it, and you can loop them on in, and it fits into that bun exactly like the other pieces. That one's long. And secure it right here, just so it's nice and symmetrical. Have a little tail, and then just this little tail here, I'll do the same thing. Again, I'm working with the curl. This curl is not working with me though. Okay, there we go. And then we're gonna pin it on in. And I love, you know, with my styling and my wedding styling, I love the products that I work with GK. You know, you've seen, these are my like traditional, like these are my go-to products for my styling as far as weddings go. And it's nice, it's simple. I work with our 2 hairsprays that ensure that I'm gonna get good hold and longevity. I work with our Shine Spray, our cashmere. You can see I love the cashmere. It's one of my favorites. And even, you know, when I'm trying to do some texturizing and detailing, I'll work with that shaping wax. If you're using the shaping wax on your updos, I do typically mix it either with the serum or the cashmere on my updos, just to kind of make it a little lighter weight. And it really creates a nice definition on your braids. If you're fishtailing, the shaping wax is great for that. I always say the shaping wax is one of our underestimated kind of products. Not, you know, I don't think everyone goes for a wax nowadays, but it's a great product. And finishing with that Shine Spray, pulling up wherever you want to pull up and add a little extra volume. And again, you can do those pins, that placement. I'm just gonna stand up, come up front. I'm really happy with how it looks on both sides. I know sometimes when you're working without a mirror, you can get one side that's fuller than the other. And I'm actually pleased with how this turned out. And I'll turn it around in a sec. Just giving her a few sprays. All right, let's bring this light in. Oh my gosh, it's like 2 tripods fighting with each other. All right, so let's see. Let's get her off her. So here we go. We have our Topsy braid. And you know what's fun is you can always place like little, there's these really cute pearl, like they look like pearl pins, and you can place them in there as accessories. Those look really cute in the Topsy braids. You can place a hairpiece in there, like a wedding hairpiece. This is the other side. It's nice and full, so you don't have the unbalance. I'll turn around for you to see. You see how it's pretty balanced on both sides, where one side's not really big and the other side's super tight. And then here we go. Here's the back for you.
Well, that's beautiful, Trisha.
All right, do we have any questions about this style? If you have any.
Be able to keep that in all night and dance away.
Yeah.
No moving that way.
She's dancing.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's beautiful. Wow.
All right. So let's bring our ladies up for their grand reveal. All right. 2 simple styles that look very elegant, very in trend with what the direction of upstyling's been lately, with it being a little bit more relaxed but still put together. This again is going to be your veil of curls. So you're creating those curls and pinning them back to give that very nice tousled look with that low bun. And this one is going to be more a take of the fullness with the braiding in there, the boho braid, and a really full bun here. All right, do we have? Yes, patience. Patience is always the key when it comes to doing your styling, and especially working with new clients who maybe you'll only see that once because they're bridesmaids, right? But working in panels is one of my biggest tips. Having the right products when you're working, making up a little wedding kit. I like to have a little wedding kit ready. For my own salon, I like to try to be as sustainable as possible. And actually, these are our GK. This is like an old Lock Me color mask. And what I do is I clean it out at the end, and I'll throw my bobby pins in one. I'll clean out whenever I go through the next one. I'll clean that out, and I'll throw my pins or my elastics in another, and it helps keep you organized. I think being organized, creating panel sections, and really taking a deep breath and working strategically will always help make that service go a little bit more smooth, and your client will be a little bit more receptive to the style you're doing if you check in with them, because this is a big event probably for them. So checking in with them is always helpful. Well, do we have any questions? How do we feel? Do you think, let me know, do you think, anybody in the chat, do you think you're gonna try this on a mannequin or a model this week, or when you go back to the salon? You can always tag GK Hair and Monaco Blue and let them know that you attended the class. Let your clients know you attended a styling class, and it helps, your clients see that you're still keeping up on education.
Trisha, everything was just beautiful.
Thanks, Carolyn.
Oh my gosh, I wish I had long hair to to do that.
Yeah.
It was just beautiful. Thank you so much. We're glad everybody joined us today. Trisha, maybe you could put in the chat, like, if we could follow you. I know we have, you have some, I follow you on Instagram and Facebook, and you do some beautiful work.
Yeah.
It's fun to see your work, and I know you work closely with GK. Trisha, where it says in the chat, you want to make sure that you're saying to panelists and attendees. You got to kind of click down on that.
Oh, okay. Oh my gosh, this whole time I've been talking just to the panelists.
No.
Oh,
When you put in the when you type in the chat, you want to make sure that they see, there, you did it. So Strands of Detroit, which is awesome.
Yep.
So you can see that.
And if you
Hey,
have any questions, you know, you can always message me on there. And
yeah. Oh, there's a question right there. I think someone has a question. Love a newer style. Oh, you're a newer stylist, and this is a simple way instead of what beauty school teaches. The
oh my
panels. Yeah. Yeah, I get that. I get that.
yeah, I think sometimes we can get overwhelmed, and when we're in you see they give you one style and you have to do it that way, which is great because, you know, learning something, an essential tool is important, but then it's also nice hearing it from a different perspective, someone who's been in the field. And I remember when I left beauty school, I was terrified to do updos. And then, you know, you progress. I've been in the industry for about 10 years now. So it just takes patience and time, and you'll get used to it.
It does. It does. So I don't know if I have any Ohio stylists out there. We've been getting a little bit of a backlog with getting things certified for CE credit. So I apologize. As soon as that comes out, we'll make sure that we get you guys your credits. But in the meantime, I will be sending out to you. Oh, yep, you're from Ohio. Shannon, we'll make sure you get your credits for this. I have everybody's login name, and we're going to go from there. And I'll get you your credits. But in the meantime, I'll send out your virtual badge and your virtual certificate for attending the GK class. Rebecca, I'll make sure that when I get the class certified back from State Board, that I'll get you your CE credits. I apologize. I think they're just kind of getting back to work and behind on things. And we put these classes together so quickly. I have to usually give them about a 45-day window of when we're doing classes, but you know, it's the new way, the pandemic way, I guess, you know. So,
Yeah.
But Olivia, you want to tell us a little bit about some social media things that are going on?
Sure, definitely. Yeah, so I can put those links back in the chat, but we have really loved getting to connect with all of you virtually through these Zoom classes, and we hope to continue to do that. And as you go back to work, I hope that you will stay connected with us via social media so that we can see what you're up to, see what you've taken away from these classes, all of those good things. So I'm just going to really encourage you guys that as you start posting pictures of your work again and all that good stuff, that you know, tag Monaco Blue in it or use the hashtag Monaco Blue. That way I can see it and interact with you guys. There's also a link for more class opportunities that are coming up in the next couple of weeks. We have a couple of sanitation classes still on the docket, and I know that it's a renewal year for Ohio stylists and that you need those hours. So if that's something that you need, we have one next Wednesday and one the Wednesday after. We also have, what else do we have? A few fun things, I think.
Well, I'm getting some really great, I'm working with some other vendors and getting some classes back. So that's happening. I'm trying to think what else we got going on. It is some other classes that are happening. And I want you guys to know that our warehouse is open, so you can continue to order from us. So.
Yeah, we are up at full capacity as of this week. So we are shipping at almost normal speed. Things are a little bit slower because there's like an incubation period to keep everything clean. But our, you know, all of our teams are back at it and here to help you for sure, which is fun. It's good to have that happening. I actually placed an order for some shampoo because I was very, very out. So I'm happy the warehouse team is back.
Well, we just want to thank everybody for spending their time with us this morning, especially you, Tricia. Those styles were just absolutely gorgeous. Oh my gosh. Like I said, I wish I had long hair, and I think when Olivia gets her extensions back in, she's going to
Yeah.
So, well, take care, everybody. And when we get the CE credits, I promise I will send those out to you. I apologize. They're just backlogged on it. So take care, stay safe, and we'll see you guys sometime this week.
Thank you, everyone.
All right. Bye-bye.